From ABC News Radio, KMET 1490 in Southern California. This is BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio with your host, Tyler Jorgensen.
All right, welcome out to BizNinja Entrepreneur Radio. My name is Tyler Jorgensen, and I have the pleasure of interviewing one of the youngest entrepreneurs that I've had on the show, at least in the recent past, Alina Morse, who is the CEO of Zolli Candy. And I'm going to let her tell us a little bit about what this is, because it's fascinating and delicious. And I'm a major sugar junkie, so this is really cool for me. Alina, welcome out to the show.
Thank you so much for having me. I'm super excited to be here.
So right off the bat, what is Zolli Candy?
Yeah, so Zolli Candy is all natural, sugar-free candy that actually cleans your teeth. So it's free of the top 7 allergens, gluten-free, vegan, non-GMO, with all natural flavors and colors. It's basically accessible for everyone. And it cleans your teeth and it's delicious. So it's perfect for kids and families. People of all ages love Zolli Candy because who doesn't love having something sweet that's totally guilt-free? You don't have to worry about cavities, sugar, anything like that.
That is insane. So recovering sugar addict here. And I got some of your product yesterday. I'll show a couple for those of you that are catching us on YouTube or everywhere else. I'll show a couple of them. They have lollipops. They have taffy. They have, sugar. I don't even know what they're called. Other types of really good stuff. But they're all sugar-free and good for your oral health, which is crazy. So Alina, on this show, we cover 2 things. We want to talk about your business, but we also want to talk about your entrepreneurial journey. So why? How did this happen? First of all, how old are you?
So I just turned 15.
Happy birthday.
I've been doing Thank you. But I've been doing this business stuff for over half my life. So I started when I was 7 years old on a trip to the bank with my dad. The bank teller, as they do, offered me a lollipop. And my dad told me, you shouldn't have candy because sugar is terrible for your teeth. So I asked him, well, why can't we make a healthy lollipop that's good for my teeth so that I could have candy and it wouldn't be bad for me? And, after about 100 times of asking my dad, when are we going to make these lollipops? When are we going to make these lollipops? He finally caved in and said, Alina, if you want to make something happen, you have to write it down. So I wrote out a plan in my idea binder, and that was the beginning.
So 7 years old, you have this epiphany at the bank because your dad was being a good dad and not letting you just have sugar anytime you wanted it. And not buying you North Korea, which was great. And so he's saying no, and it inspires this idea, but you didn't let it go. So
No.
You're 7. This is now almost 8 years ago. What, you wrote it down in your idea binder, you kept pressuring him. What was your next step?
So my next step was, obviously writing down what I wanted the product to look like, A. B, writing down what kind of I wanted ingredients, which in my mind was like sugar, not sugar, flavor.
Yeah, you're a 7-year-old, not a chemist.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I realized, okay, this isn't much of a plan. So I went to Google, like any kid would, and I watched YouTube videos of people making lollipops in big factories. I watched videos on, why sugar's bad for you. I did a lot of research about, cavities. I read some things from the ADA, kind of showing how hard candy is such a kind of a gateway for cavities, because that sugar is prolonged in your mouth. But then I actually made a very shocking discovery. Tooth decay is actually the single greatest epidemic facing kids in America today, according to the U.S. Surgeon General.
Wow.
And after finding this out, I realized, tooth decay is a preventable disease, but it's still the number one growing epidemic. And, nobody's educating kids about this. Yeah, they're saying brush your teeth, you don't want to get cavities, but what are they really doing to prevent this? And so really that was kind of the starting point for when I realized, I want to not only create a candy that my parents can't say no to, but create a candy that can help kids all over the world that are struggling with this epidemic, or epidemic.
Yeah.
And so, it was a lot of research, researching what ingredients, could be substituted for sugar. And there's not many, honestly, that would taste like a normal candy.
Right.
And I also, found out that nobody has done this before. Like, nobody has tried to create a completely sugar-free, functional, healthy candy that cleans your teeth. And so that was really interesting to me as well. But I wanted to really make it about the mission, which, from the very beginning, it was always reducing or eliminating childhood tooth decay. So along with kind of researching what we can do to create this actual product, I was also researching how I could educate kids about this. How can I let more kids know that, there's another option? There is this candy that I want to create that, you can have as a substitute for your normal sugary candy, but it tastes just as great. So after all that research, after putting together an ingredient list with the help of my dentist and my dental hygienist, me and my dad, who at the time was a business consultant and now works as the business manager of the company, he said, okay, Alina, you're going to have to help me scout out some manufacturing facilities, because although he was a business consultant, he had never worked with candy ever. He had no idea how to go about this. And so he was like, okay, well, I would normally look for a factory. So I guess that's what we'll do now. And I was like, okay, cool. Like, I want to find a factory. That'd be awesome. It'd be like the videos I watched on YouTube. Yep. And so one day, this is kind of a funny story that really kind of shows how young and inexperienced I was. My dad said, okay, Alina, we're going to go tour a plant. And so, we go to this, huge factory. And a little insight into the candy industry, all the big candy brands use the same factories. So that's why there's some overlap when you're like, this candy kind of tastes like this candy, but they're from different brands. They're all made in the same places.
Yep.
So we were touring one of the big candy factories, and, I'm by the end of the tour, and my dad had told me, this is a plant, and that's, what we call manufacturing facilities. And so I'm like looking around at the end, I'm like, great tour, where's the plant? He's like, no, this is the plant. And I'm like, no, where's the potted plant? And right. I'm completely serious. I'm like, where's the plant? And he's like, no. But, it just kind of shows.
Where's the xylitol tree? Right?
Exactly. So. Exactly. And ironically, xylitol does grow on trees.
How funny. So okay. Idea at 7. I'm going to map this out for our listeners. You persist. And I like that you said, essentially, you wanted a candy your parents wouldn't say no to. So for you, the first thing you were doing was just trying to solve a problem of having candy whenever you wanted it, right? And then it evolved into really a mission of being able to help kids and oral health. So how old were you now when you're touring this plant? Still 7?
Around 8 or 9 years old.
Okay.
So the research,
so we're a year or so into this.
Yeah, okay. A year or so into it. After touring about, 10 plants, we decided on one we like, which was difficult considering, not every manufacturing facility can handle, sugar-free candy. It has to be on separate equipment, but that's boring stuff.
Sure.
So, after finding a plant that we could use, we basically, worked with their food scientist to develop, the finalized ingredient list. And then we just started running product. And the initial investment was about $7,500, which was my money from grandparents, birthdays, Christmas that I had been saving up for this grand idea. And then my dad matched it. So that's, if you want to do the math, cut it in half, but about $7,500.
That's awesome.
Yeah. And so, no big investment. It's just, a little bit to get it going.
So making candy is part of it, right? And I'm sure,
Yes.
hey, you can spend $7,500, make some candy, and you and your family will eat it. But that wasn't the goal. The goal is to actually get customers and start selling. So did you still lead some of this, getting the product to market, part of the next steps?
Exactly. Yeah. So finalizing product, finalizing packaging, finally coming up with the name Zolli Pops. And then we jumped right in. We skipped all the normal steps of some or of most small businesses where they go to their small mom and pop stores and try and sell locally. We jumped right into Whole Foods markets in Southern California. It was my first ever business meeting. So we met with the buyers. They loved the idea, they loved the product, and they brought us in, which was really, really exciting right off the bat. Letting, kind of a nobody company into their stores was a big jump for us. And it was, cool. A struggle creating all that or getting all that product prepared to sell because, we were doing a lot of assembly. We were very small, barely had a team. And yeah, from there, we got onto Amazon.com. And now we're the number 2 best-selling hard candy on Amazon out of all sugar and sugar-free. Wow. So we're selling more than Blow Pop, Tootsie Pop online. And, Amazon influences 70% of sales in store. So, if people are loving it online, people are loving it in store too. And that's what we told Kroger, CVS, Walgreens, Target, Walmart when we got into their stores.
Yep.
Yeah, and
that's
then
brilliant.
They brought us in.
So a lot of what my company does and what we do in entrepreneurship is talk about what you just said, which is that there's a blended approach to the digital and the brick and mortar, right? And I think right now with everything going on in the world, that's even more apparent that so you guys had a really strong digital presence on Amazon, but then you also were able to leverage that as you got into wholesalers. And I think that's amazing. What was the hardest thing going through all of that process for you to either figure out or did you hit any roadblocks that you had to overcome?
Yeah, we totally hit a major roadblock very, very early in the company. Basically, so the way in which we were making the product made it very susceptible to being hygroscopic. Basically, that means the product sucked in the moisture in the air and it melted. So the product was still fine, but it was like a melty blob in the plastic. So obviously not a good thing to deal with, not good emails that we were getting from customers after, them leaving it in their purse, in their car, stuff like that. And we wanted it to be shelf stable, of course. And, that's a goal for any CPG company, have a long shelf life. But it's difficult with the ingredients we were using, and especially with the process in which we were making them. So you have to have the perfect environment in the factory. You have to have the perfect humidity. So if you're a little bit over, it makes them really, really soft. Or no, it's the opposite. Actually, wait, no, I was right. If you're a little bit over, it makes them really susceptible to melting. And if you're a little bit under, it makes them susceptible to getting really brittle and making kind of white crystallization.
Yep.
And so this was something that we had to, really kind of work with our manufacturing facility about. We basically, went to them and we were like, we can't make them here if we can't have this humidity perfect. So that was something we worked on for a long time, probably, 6 months. And we finally fixed it, 6 to 8 months, roughly. And we finally fixed it. And now we have a shelf life of 3 years. Awesome. So it's stable like rock candy. We ship it on vessels to China, Korea, no melting. And so that was a huge roadblock, but it's definitely been for the better.
So you're 15 now. You've been working on this project, this business for 8 years, and it's obviously going really well. I mean, being number 2 in any category on Amazon is amazing, let alone a big category like what you're dominating. That's insane. And we've had some top Amazon sellers on the show before. All of them would be, I know, just blown away. And then not only that, you're in all of these retailers. So 8 years of business is a lot longer than a lot of entrepreneurs stick with the business. So you've stuck with this business for a while, which even, you're young, but you have obviously some a real desire to like make something happen. What was the absolute hardest day in the last 8 years of being CEO of Zolli Pops?
Oh man, there's been some hard days. I would say it's not necessarily a day. It's more a time when that it's a reoccurring time. So it's almost like deja vu every time it happens. But we go to a lot of business conferences, ECRMs. We go to Expo West every year, Sweets and Snacks.
Yep.
Even ISM, the largest candy show in the entire world in Cologne, Germany. So I've been to a lot of shows. I've had a lot of meetings, thousands of meetings over the span of this company. And there's always those few meetings every so often where they walk in and it's usually, not to generalize, but it's the older generation.
Sure.
And they look at you, or they look at me, and they look at my dad, and I can tell, they're like, it's not bring your daughter to work day. Who is she? What's going on here? And I know what I gotta do. And then I break into my super serious, lots of businessy words, pitch. It's those days where I know people don't believe in me, and I know people don't believe that I am not just the face of the company, that I'm the CEO, and I work very hard, and I put in my time, and I've been putting in my time for 8 years. I built this from the bottom up.
So so facing, to kind of break that down, so facing the stereotype that a kid can't really be running a business, or that therefore like, oh, I'm going to just talk to dad, right? Now you've been dealing with that since probably early on, calling the manufacturers, finding people. They're probably like, who am I talking to? Right? Double checking, making sure that they're hearing you correctly. Has it gotten better as you've gotten a little bit older? I mean, you're 15 now, right? You look more mature than you did as an 8-year-old kid. Has it gotten better, or is it still the same thing where do they just see a young girl and you've got to face it head on?
I would say it's definitely gotten better, but it's gotten better with the more I know. And
Sure.
So I guess from that standpoint, I haven't gone to business school and still a freshman in high school. So there's a lot I don't know about real world experiences in a way. I've definitely learned a lot more in these, 7 or 8 years than I probably would have in 20 years.
Yeah.
But I would say it's as much as it's gotten better with age, I've had to really, really push myself to always be on my feet. And as any business owner should be, I've been from a young age, I've held myself to the higher standard where I should know everything about the company more than anyone else in the room. I guess from that standpoint, yeah.
That makes a lot of sense. I really like that. So I've been an entrepreneur since I was a kid. I not with a big business like what you've built, but 5 years old, I started coming up with ways to make money. And I'm a little bit older than you. And so I've gone through this cycle several times. And I'll tell you, it's really cool to hear that you've stuck with this one idea and really grown it into a real legitimate big company. Later in my life, I actually went back to business school. So I got a master's degree and I did all that stuff. I'll tell you what, this is just my one thing for you. You know more than anybody sitting in business school, because what they know is they know the books. They know what the textbook says. They're probably going to read your case study, right? And they may know how to analyze something or do things, but they don't understand business at the way that someone like you, who's been running a business, hands in the business, understanding every single aspect. Most people that are in business school are doing one piece of a business. Very few of them are entrepreneurs. They're starting to be a little bit of an evolution of entrepreneurship in colleges again. But And so I just think it's amazing what you're doing. And I hope nobody ever holds that against you, that you're just a freshman in high school, because what you really are is a CEO of a very successful company that you came up with and built over the past 8 years. I think it's amazing. And the candy's really good. So again, from a self-confessed sugar junkie, I was very skeptical, but I've tried the taffies, and what were the other ones called? The
drops, were they the small?
Yeah, the ones that are like chewy. So they were
the
really
gummies.
Good. Yeah, the gummies, because I love those kind of things, right? So it's kind of like, it's like a healthy version of Sour Patch Kids, kind of, right?
Yeah, those are part of our brand new product line that we just released. So our brand new product line consists of caramels, gummies, and then a bunch of new flavors: peach, watermelon, green apple, blue raspberry, watermelon. So the caramels will be in CVS early June.
Very cool.
So pretty exciting.
It's very exciting. So let's do two things. I want to take this two more directions and we'll kind of start wrapping up. One, what advice do you have for young entrepreneurs who have an idea and want to make it a reality?
Yeah, so this is something that I guess I've learned over time by, being an entrepreneur and then watching other people, especially adults. As a kid, never stop asking questions. Never, ever stop asking questions, because as you grow up, you're going to want to look more professional. You're going to want to, like I said, be the smartest person in the room. But you can't get to that point if you stop asking questions, you stop being curious. That's when you stop growing, you stop learning. So never stop asking questions. I would say this is kind of a little motto that my dad always told me, probably since I was, 3 or 4 years old. He said, work hard, try, believe, and never give up. And if you break that down, honestly, those are the keys to kind of anything in life, anything you want to accomplish. You just got to work hard, try, believe, and never give up. Another thing I would say is, once you're getting into business, don't take it all on yourself. This is a general business thing, especially if you're in that CEO role. You have to delegate, and you have to, one, hire people that you trust, and hire people that are equally as passionate about this business as you are, and that are obviously good at their job. And then two, trust them enough to let them do their thing. Because there's, especially for me, I, didn't go to business school. I know nothing about accounting. I'm in like 9th grade math. I'm taking algebra. And, I can't drive a forklift legally. So I have to let my team, do their thing and do their job. And obviously we're very, very collaborative. And, one of our big things is never assume you're right. Never assume you know the answer. Always ask. But, you just have to be a part of a team. And working in business is, what I like to say, a team sport. And it's my sport. So,
yeah.
So,
awesome.
It's really important to do that. Because, in business, there are people that will screw you over, but if you hire the right people, you'll grow a lot quicker if you have people that you can count on.
Yeah. So I love all of those are very, very good mantras and having a growth mindset to me is one of the biggest things, indicators of whether or not an entrepreneur is going to be successful. Are they still open-minded? I love that idea of never stop asking questions and never assuming, right? Because so many entrepreneurs, they think that in order to be the CEO or be that leader, they have to always have the answers. And that's actually the fastest path to like stopping growth. So really fascinating. So for your brand, you've got some really cool stuff. You've got some new products that you just talked about. What are some of your big goals over the next couple of years?
Well, I want to start driving in a couple of years, hopefully.
Right.
I'm not very good, so can't make any promises, but I'm from the Motor City, so I have my pick of cars. Any car brands, sponsor me. I love all of you. anyways, so I would say, from a business standpoint, we definitely want to continue growing. We did experience some setbacks. Obviously, during this time, we experienced some setbacks, but we're still on a steady track. We hope to, expand even more internationally. We currently, do sell internationally in China, Korea, France, the Philippines, Morocco, the UK, and more. But we want to keep making Zolli Candy accessible for everyone. Of course, trying to get our new products into retail, which is a long process, of course, but it seems like we're on the right path. And as kind of our business's long-term goal, kind of for forever, this is going to be our goal. And I think this is the reason that we've stuck with this business so long, other than, of course, because I love it. It's my baby. And, it's just such an amazing and kind of empowering company to have a young woman CEO behind it. And of course, it's a very useful product. But, our main goal is to, eliminate childhood tooth decay. And although school is on hold right now, our nonprofit, we're constantly growing. It's the Million Smiles Initiative, where we give free candy to schools across America to teach kids about the importance of oral health care and entrepreneurship. And all that good stuff that, kids should be learning about in school. So, that's our nonprofit that we've been trying to grow.
I love it. All right. We got like one more minute to wrap up. So first of all, thank you so much for coming out, sharing so much knowledge and information that, and really it's not about your age, because you're just 8 years of running any company. You're going to learn a ton. And thanks for sharing that with all of our listeners. What is one item on your personal bucket list other than driving that you're going to accomplish in the next 12 months?
Oh man, I'm going to get TikTok famous.
All right. I love it.
I still have my teenage goals, but
yeah,
I also
want
to get back to dance. I miss dance. I'm a competition dancer. So that's a goal.
Yeah.
For me. So
those are two awesome goals, and I love it. Thank you so much for coming out. Please, everyone, go find Zolli Candy on the internet, and we will link it in all the show notes and that sort of thing. But if you're listening on radio, check out zollicandy.com. And thanks for coming out, Alina. You are awesome.
Thank you so much.